What if everything you thought you knew about ancient European spirituality was missing a massive, untold chapter? Prepare to journey into the heart of Ukraine, not as you know it today, but as a land vibrant with forgotten gods, enigmatic beasts, and a spiritual world so rich it rivals any pantheon you've ever heard of. This isn't just history, it's a rediscovery. This is the story of myths buried under centuries of conquest, faith, and oppression, and the fight to bring them back. Before Christianity came to these lands, before the rise and fall of empires, the people of ancient Ukraine believed in forces older than time itself. Their world was alive with gods of thunder and rivers, spirits of the forest, protectors of the hearth, and demons lurking in the shadows. But today, most of us can barely name them. Why? Because history buried them, deliberately. The first wave of forgetting came with the Christianization of Kievan Rus' in the year 988. Prince Volodymyr, known as Saint Vladimir in Christian tradition, ordered the destruction of pagan idols and the baptism of his people. Temples were burned, sacred groves were cut down. What was once the heart of spiritual life was declared heresy. But it didn't stop there. These beliefs lived on in whispers, hidden in folk songs, preserved in seasonal rituals, disguised as superstition. And then came the second blow, the Soviet Union. The Soviets didn't just target religion, they targeted identity. Anything tied to Ukraine's unique heritage was dangerous. Myths, songs, folklore. They weren't just stories, they were a source of national pride. And so campaigns began, books banned, festivals forbidden, scholars silenced. Entire generations grew up believing that Ukraine's ancient faith never existed, or worse, that it was primitive nonsense. But despite centuries of suppression, fragments survived. And when we piece them together, what emerges is a vision of a world as rich and complex as that of the Norse or the Greeks. Let's step into that world. Kupala Night, celebrated on the summer solstice, is one of the oldest surviving pagan festivals in Europe. It was a night of fire and water, love and magic. Young women would weave flower wreaths and set them afloat on rivers to divine their future. Couples leaped over flames, believing the fire would cleanse and bless their union. Today, it's a joyful celebration, but its roots go deep, back to rituals honoring fertility gods and the eternal cycle of nature. Spring in pagan Ukraine wasn't just a season, it was a resurrection. People greeted the first larks with songs, calling warmth back to the land. Offerings of bread and eggs symbolized life returning after winter's death. And the harvest? It wasn't just work, it was worship. The last sheaf of wheat was dressed as Diduk, the spirit of the field, brought into the home as a sacred guest for the winter. Where were these gods worshipped? Archaeology gives us clues. The hill fort of Peryn near Novgorod, Spruch idol in modern Ukraine, and countless mysterious mounds scattered across the steppe. These were not random earthworks, they were sanctuaries, aligned with the stars, places where people spoke to the divine. For centuries, the old gods slept, but today they are waking. Artists, writers, historians, and spiritual seekers are piecing together the fragments. Songs once whispered in secret are sung again. Ancient symbols, like the Kolovrat sunwheel, reappear in art and embroidery. This isn't about replacing modern faith. It's about remembering who we are. Why does it matter? Because myths are more than stories. They are blueprints of identity. When you erase them, you erase the soul of a nation. The Soviets knew this. That's why they tried so hard to destroy them. But they failed. And today, Ukraine isn't just defending its land, it's defending its spirit. The lost myths of Ukraine are not just relics, they are roots. And roots matter. They anchor us through storms, they nourish us when others try to cut us down. The Christianization swept away idols. The Soviets banned the songs. But neither could kill the spirit that still burns in our folklore, our festivals, and our fight for freedom today. This is more than history, it's a resurrection. And if these stories survive, so does the soul of Ukraine. We've uncovered a story they tried to erase, a chapter of Ukraine's soul that survived centuries of fire and chains. But this fight isn't over. Today, Ukraine defends not only its land, but its identity, its history, its future. And you can help. Every donation through Monobank brings us closer to victory on the battlefield and in the battle for truth. Support this channel so we can keep telling the stories they tried to silence. Scan the QR code or click the link below. Even a small contribution makes a big difference. Together, we fight, we endure, and we win.